I have lost count of the number of games Mamelodi Sundowns have played in around 6 weeks. But I like the mentality of Miguel Cardoso, who said his mind is only focused on Lamontville Golden Arrows and not the 18-point gap difference between themselves and Orlando Pirates. Well, this is Oscar Nsinse Football, where we engage and discuss on anything to do with football, from Africa to the world and from the world to Africa. Yet another game in a period of about 3 days for Mamelodi Sundowns. They are going down to Durban to face Lamontville Golden Arrows. Well, this game basically is going to be one that a lot of factors must be considered. In this episode, we're just going to be giving our best possible starting 11 for Mamelodi Sundowns. But before we get there, talk tactics and talk, possibly 11 for Miguel Cardoso, congratulations to Manqoba Mngqith, one who served Mamelodi Sundowns with the flying colors for over 10 years. And he was sacked not too long ago by Mamelodi Sundowns. He was recently appointed by Golden Arrows. It is definitely going to be a tough one for Mamelodi Sundowns to face their previous boss. I mean, Manqoba Mngqith knows the ins and the outs of Mamelodi Sundowns. So definitely the boys at Golden Arrows will want to prove themselves to their new manager. But for Mamelodi Sundowns, it's going to be a tough one because he knows most of these players. Some of them, he gave them a chance this season, and even said some positive things about some of them. I remember what he said about Malik Khoza, that he will even start him in big games. He gave him a chance. He gave Litlaku a run. So those players will forever be grateful to Manqoba Mngqith. I think Golden Arrows bringing him back into South African football is good for the league and is good for a South African player. He's got an eye for a South African player. He's a father figure. I mean, he's a good coach. He plays good football. It's going to be an interesting one. In the beginning of the season for Mamelodi Sundowns, we were speaking about, box entries, creating a lot of chances, running behind the last line of defense. It's going to be an interesting one if he's on the bench, as in how he's going to approach this game. For Miguel Cardoso, there's a number of things as a fan, as someone who analyzes games, as to how is he actually going to be approaching this one. What is he going to... So it's going to be very, very, very a big one for players that will probably be given a chance on this one. Now, some of the things I'm repeatedly saying, consider. KZN, it's been wet. It's been raining. So chances are we might be playing on a rainy weather, a wet pitch. Another thing to consider is we've been playing a whole lot of games. If it's going to be changing a lot of players, he has to consider the rhythm of some of the players he'll be putting into that starting 11. And now, let me just start and give my best 11 for this game. I think it is fair to continue with a Jody February. He hasn't made any spectacular save, maybe because the last line of defense has been decent for him. I haven't really seen him being tested as much, apart from the mistakes he made in that Skukuni game where he attempted to play the ball from the back, giving a high ball to an Allende and then eventually conceding that goal, patting the ball back into the box for the first goal. So, but I think we just have to give the boy another run, another chance. And I'm saying this because of the people who will be in front of him. I will continue with the Aseko Tiwan in that left back position. Continue with a Luis Suarez. Yes, I know we're playing Sekhukhune United come weekend for the Nedbank quarterfinal, but I'll continue with those two, Tiwana, Luis Suarez, right centre back. I'll bring back Grant Kekana, who missed the Kaizer Chiefs game, and then I'll bring back Thapelo Morena in place of Khuliso Mudau. I'm not sure if Khuliso Mudau is another injury or not. I don't know how serious it is, but if indeed he is fit, I'll start a Mudau, but I'm suspecting that he might be struggling with another injury. So I'll start with the Thapelo Morena. Majority of these four have played together. So it's going to be Tiwane, Suarez, Grant Kekana, and a Thapelo Morena. Obviously, this is we're considering some of the Speedy Gonzalez's of Golden Arrows, especially their guy, what's his name? I almost said Sabelo. Forgetting his last name now. I'm sure he's a captain, unless Ndwando is a captain, but he's skillful. He likes coming from the left. Mutizwa hasn't done much this season, and but the back four should be solid enough to counter the pace and to be able to defend set pieces. And as I'm saying, left back and the left centre back have played together in a big game in Kaizer Chiefs, so the communication will probably also improve with time. Grant Kekana and Thapelo Morena have played together before. Now let's go to the midfield three. The midfield three that is tirelessly played for Miguel Cardoso is a Teboho Mokoena, Jaden Adams, and a Marcelo Allende. I think the two, Allende and Mokoena, they deserve a lift. They deserve a break. I don't want to see them on the stands. I don't want to see them on the bench. Yeah, I would be happy if they didn't even travel to Durban. They deserve a much needed rest. Maybe they'll be back for that Sekhukhune important game, quarterfinal. So the midfield three, I will change everyone. I'll start with Obas, who's been getting some minutes, so he's not far off from match fitness in the rhythm with the other guys. So Obas as a 6, and then the 8 of Siphelele, Pito, Blesser, Mkhulise, and surprisingly, I'm going to start Aubrey Modiba as another 8, because we will need him come Saturday against a Sekhukhune. So a midfield 3 of Obas, Modiba, and a Mkhulise. Something interesting that I noted from Rivaldo. He said something he learned greatly from Busquets is that a Busquets does. He said when you are doing passing back passes and the side passes, you should make sure they are 100% accurate. You will rather lose attempting a forward pass, because when you lose that ball passing forward, at least you're still behind the ball, as opposed to having a careless pass passing on the sides or a back pass. So interesting, I'm saying this because of an Obas. And Obas, I hope it's something that he should learn and take to heart, that if he's passing sideways, back passes, make sure with those passes, but he should also have a heart and be brave enough to attempt those forward passes, which is something we expect or we've seen a lot from Teboho Mokoena, because he'll be playing that role of Teboho Mokoena in this game. While the front three, I will start with Shalulile. Reason being, I think he played for an hour because they were all substituted in that 60th, 61st minute in that game against Kaizer Chiefs. That is Mudau, Shalulile, and Jaden Adams. So they only played for an hour there. So I will start Shalulile for one reason, that I would love to see Shalulile, break that 100-goal mark, getting into the century for Mamelodi Sundowns and getting closer to being the all-time leading goal scorer of the Premier Soccer League. And in this one, he should. I know Cardoso employs a lot of these split strikers with Reyners and a Shalulile. They do a lot of movements up front. Sometimes you never know who's on the left, who's on the right, who's on the center, because they are forever interchanging with the number 10 or 10 and a half closely behind him in a Ribeiro. So I would want a Shalulile to be the one who will stay in the box because of the other two players that will be playing alongside him. And those two players are a Litlaku and a Teshrik Matthews. Another much needed rest for a Ribeiro. I don't want to see him on the field. I don't want to see him on the bench, on the stands. I hope he's at home. Maybe a player that could be on the bench could be a Reyners. We'd also welcome the idea of seeing an Esquivel on the bench and the new signing of a Lebo Mothiba, who's been training with Sundowns since December. And then this is a point where I also need to welcome Lebo Mothiba to Mamelodi Sundowns. I know a whole lot of teams rejected him. I think a lot of players were just monitoring and considering that he's had a bad phase of injuries. So no team wants to waste money on someone who will play 2 games and be injured. So Mamelodi Sundowns, it's also a risk for them to sign a player like Lebo Mothiba. But overall, if he stays injury free, he is one that is going to be adding a lot of physicality, a lot of fight in that front line come CAF Champions League knockout stages. So front 3, Shalulile, Litlaku, Teshrik Matthews. Midfield 3, Obas, Mngqithi, Modiba. Back 4, Tiwana, Morena, Suarez, Grant, and the goalkeeper will continue with a February. He hasn't been tested much, but so far it's okay. Allow him to go, and we will see on the next one. What do you think about this lineup? What is your opinion on what Miguel should do, considering the number of games? Clearly, our players were tired in that game against a Kaizer Chiefs. Now, let me end it there by declaring, may my God bless you all.